TIFU by blocking someone. TIFU by blocking someone on everything and finding their apology message on an old device 3 years laters. I don't know if I want to cry or scream. It's too late for me to message anyone about this, but I feel like I am about to explode out of frustration. To set the story, I made very quick friends with a boy in my freshman class of high school. We were both in swim and in some of the more advanced classes. So we had a lot of time to get to know each other and become friends. He was and is still one of the funniest people I've ever met in life. I'm not sure what he's like now, for reasons soon to be revealed. But when I knew him, he definitely was very guarded and had zero tolerance for any BS thrown his way. He had no problem standing up for himself and putting anyone he thought was trying to make fun of him back in their place. Honestly, I really admired that about him, since I was a lot more passive when I was younger and would often let others poke fun at me for a laugh. Anyway, back on topic. The next 3 years were pretty much the same, and I thought we grew pretty close as friends. I knew I wasn't his best friend, but still very good friends. About 3-ish years after graduating, we got into a fight. It's been a long time and I try to not think about it, but this is what I remember. He was in a military branch, so he only came home on holidays. He had asked me if I wanted to hang out either that day or the next with some friends. I remember I couldn't do that day, so I asked the friends he was talking about if they would be down to hang out the next night. When I called him back to let him know, my dogs started barking and I really harshly shushed them because they love to be a part of the conversation even if they're not invited. Well, he ended up hanging out with one of those friends that night, and then we all hung out the next night. I thought everything was fine. But then I had a seriously mental break where I tried to jump out of a moving car. Remember, this is around the holidays. So my family and I make the executive decision that it would probably be best if I don't go out and drink. I didn't want to tell anyone that I had just tried to jump out of a car. So I told him and the rest of the group my mental health wasn't good and I wouldn't be able to go out on New Year's. He got very angry, accused me of hanging out with other people. Remember when I shushed my dog? And making excuses for not going to New Year's. I don't remember everything. There was a back and forth until eventually I let him know that my mental health was a lot worse than I had really been letting people see, and that I really wasn't avoiding him. I was just mentally unwell, if memory serves correct. He responded by kind of meanly saying there was no way he would be able to know that if I didn't tell him, and that he can't help me in life if I don't share my struggles. He then asked me if I could remove myself from all the group chats he made with me in it so he didn't have to make new ones for me everything. So I did. I removed myself from everything and blocked him everywhere. To be honest, I was so hurt by the slightly callous way he talked about my mental health and that his main priority was group chat politics when we had been friends for almost a decade by that point. Occasionally a mutual friend would say he asked about me, but my residual anger from being accused of being a fake and flake kept me from reaching out. Eventually I realized that staying angry over what boils down to a miscommunication and too pretty much kids feeling like they were the ones in the wrong. I forgave and forgot, only really having to face it a year later when a mutual friend got married. There wasn't any confrontation or anything. I think he didn't hold open for the door for my +1, and I could totally see him when he did. The "be quiet" announcement, aiming it towards me and my friends specifically. At the time I thought it just reassurance that I had made the right decision about staying no contact. But now I know why he was like that, and I can't blame him at all. Some things to remember. 1. I blocked him. 2. I was under the impression that he never apologized to me. 3. I thought he was catty at the wedding for no reason. Well, I did block him and on everything. Everything but an old iPad which I hadn't checked the messages on for 3 years. Somehow, the last 2 texts that he sent me are there. I was confused when I saw an unopened message there, so I opened it, and guys, when I tell you my heart shattered. He apologized. He sent me an honest-to-God, real, actually good apology where he took accountability and explained himself without making excuses. It was a real apology. One that if I would have seen at the time, I would have realized how much that actually meant and forgiven him in a heartbeat. No wonder he was upset with me when we were at the wedding. I didn't even acknowledge him. I didn't even attempt to say anything after he had made that first step. Jesus, I would have been pissed too if I had owned up to my actions like an adult and the person wouldn't even acknowledge me. Jesus, we could have still been friends. If I hadn't have gotten all block happy and decided that instead of working on relationships I was just going to drop them and ignore them like they meant nothing to me. It wasn't just 2 kids having a fight and thinking they both were right and letting the friendship dissolve because of it. He knew what he did wasn't okay and owned up to it. And instead of doing the same, I was an absolute child and stuck my fingers in my ears and refused to hear it. Needless to say, I'm devastated. I don't feel like I can reach out. I know he's not in the military anymore, and that's all I know about him. I feel like if I come along 3 years later with an "sorry, my bad," it'll just feel cheap and stupid. TLD or TIFU by finding an apology message 3 years too late. This ending our friendship and any hope of reconciliation. Absolutely, you can message them. Tell them exactly what you just said. It is seriously never too late. It sounds like neither of you wanted to stop being friends. Seriously, get off Reddit and go message them. Just make sure you come back and give us an update, lol. There is never a too late thing. Try looking them up and telling them exactly what you said here and that you did not get it until now. More than likely they have moved on and are with someone. But at least you would have closure. Do it. He got very angry, accused me of hanging out with other people. Excuse me? Lesson to others. If you block them on everything, that usually means they can't communicate with you anymore. And that also includes to make an apology. I hate doormats. You owe him nothing. He shouldn't be surprised that you blocked him and then didn't read his message later. He's not entitled to anything. Are you sure he wasn't just trying to get in your pants and then lashed out because he thought you were going to hang out with another dude? NGL, I ain't reading all that. But it's never too late to reach out. When people apologize, it's usually for themselves, an attempt to absolve themselves of any guilt. You aren't obligated to forgive anyone. I say this because it doesn't matter whether or not you saw the apology. As others have pointed out, he could have contacted you through your mutual friends. Remember, he told you to remove yourself from everything. You also weren't obligated to share your mental health struggles with him. It doesn't matter why you couldn't go out for New Year's. The reason irrelevant. You owed him nothing. You still owe him nothing. He chose to be petty. Honestly, I don't think you fed up. He asked you to remove yourself from the chats. To me, that's a clear sign of not wanting communication. He launched an attack at you when you were vulnerable over something super dumb. Maybe if we knew what magic words he used in his apology, it could be doff, but as it stands, I see nothing wrong here. Nothing. I may be the one in the wrong. But if he really got grudgy after he apologized and you didn't respond, this speaks a lot more to his character than yours. Sounds to me like he felt entitled to a response, which he is not. And sounds to me like you're still blaming yourself for an issue that he caused. He needed to apologize for his own mistreatment of you, whether you stayed friends or not, because he was in the wrong. It's not for him to expect you to accept his apology. If he continues acting rude years later because you didn't respond, that really shows he isn't actually sorry. Because saying sorry is meant to be heartfelt and not conditional. If it was a true, heartfelt apology, he would have done it in person when he saw that you hadn't opened his message. And if he didn't actually know you didn't see his message, he still could have approached you in person or another way to truly apologize. At the wedding, instead of being friendly toward you to show that it was a sincere apology, he was petty and then rude to someone with you who had nothing to do with it. You have nothing to feel guilty about. It's not too late. 3 years is hardly anything. You can message them and tell them basically the same thing you typed here. Good luck. Don't attempt to contact this person. Just let it be and get on with your life. If you think this person will have a happy reaction after years of you ignoring them, you might be in for a bad time. Your friend was an insecure asshole. You did nothing wrong in the situation. The way he asked to remove yourself from the chats was hurtful. 2. You can salvage the situation still if you want. Just tell him you never saw the apologies until now. If he's unreasonable, it doesn't matter anyways. It's never too late. Got haunted by an old very good friendship for the last 6 years. Last week I took my courage and went at the workplace of a very old friend. I hadn't seen him in 6 years. He didn't answer me because I was a dick. When I saw him last week I apologized again and he did too because everything was a big misunderstood. He was not answering because he was waiting for me to come in front of him. But he wasn't aware I wasn't living there anymore. Then he agreed spending some time with me and we explained ourselves well. I pretty much destroyed a friendship I had with this girl I really loved a lot a few years ago. I don't remember quite how it happened, but I do remember hating myself for it and missing her and not being able to talk to her because she'd blocked me. I did send her a message elsewhere but she didn't see it. About 2 years ago she reached out. I tell you, the absolute joy I had in my heart when she did that. It's indescribable. She's now a very close friend again. Point is, reach out. It's never too late. Opening this. Wondering how it possibly will relate to sex. Nice. Way to go op. So rare for me to stumble upon a non-sex related TIFU on the front page. You gave up all hope of reconciliation when you blocked him. Taking action to prevent any reconciliation. The blocking was a discarding of the relationship. I'd just leave it be. You already made it clear you want nothing to do with him at all forever. I know a lot of people use blocking as a quick gotcha. But maybe it should only be used to stop someone communicating to you if they're harassing or something.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Eracast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.